By now, you're probably familiar with the Universal Orlando Resort, a resort that is loaded with hotels, City Walk, 2 legendary theme parks, and possibly one of the best water parks in the world. Universal Studios Florida and Universal's Islands of Adventure. One park is loaded with film site theming along with some astonishing attractions, while the other is loaded with powerful coasters and rides themed to iconic IPs. While there are 3 other parks in the Universal company, the Orlando Resort is the biggest one out of them all. It's the only resort that actually has more than one park. Plus, with Disney World less than 20 miles away, the Orlando Resort always needs the biggest and baddest additions in the whole park. Now, unlike Disney, Universal is running out of space here in Orange County. We have seen Universal change out a lot of attractions throughout the past 10 years with rides like Jaws, Twister, Disaster, and Dueling Dragons all biting the dust between a 6-year span of 2011 and 2017. Jurassic World Velocicoaster used the last bit of space that Universal had in Islands of Adventure, and Studios has no leftover space, so of course it was time for Universal to expand. They bought a huge plot of land just between Universal Orlando Resort and SeaWorld Orlando. Then they announced in August 2019 that they would be building their largest investment yet, a whole new park known as Epic Universe. Before I get any farther into this video, I do want to clarify that none of these lands have been confirmed by Universal Studios. I'm judging and sharing based on the concept art and numerous insider website announcements. Epic Universe is a huge park where you will enter a portal to a different universe and go on an epic adventure. The park was going to have 5 different lands based on initial information. Now, I'm not saying it was because the plan was cancelled. I'll get into that in a second, but the 5 different lands surrounded a central hub that would include an iconic fountain, lots of shops, restaurants, and probably some small family attractions. One of them seems to be a carousel, judging by the small cone-shaped roof, and the other could be a large teacup attraction, a stage, or another small flat ride under this gigantic roof. Let's kick off this epic exploration with the most obvious and most anticipated land, Super Nintendo World. This land was confirmed when Mr. Shigeru Miyamoto, Nintendo's producer and creator of the beloved Super Mario games and some of your other favorite Nintendo characters, stated that Super Nintendo World will be coming to Universal Orlando, Hollywood, and Singapore at some point in the near future. As we have seen from Japan's Super Nintendo World, we already know that this land will contain a Yoshi's Adventure attraction, which appears to be an Omnimover ride through Mount Beanpole. There will also be lots of gift shops, interactive games, and the highly anticipated Mario Kart Dark Ride. We don't know if the ride will still hold the name Mario Kart Koopa Challenge, since they did clarify Koopa is Bowser's Japanese name, and Bowser is the main villain in the Super Mario franchise. So we may see the name Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge or something like that, but I'm just speculating here. Moving on to the next zone, we have an unnamed land which appears to be themed around the Universal Monsters IP. This land would obviously focus on the classic monsters including Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, etc., but we have no idea what this land will truly include. Judging by the concept art, there really is no obvious evidence of any attraction showing up here. But if I were to guess, since it's based around such a dark theme, you could have some kind of major thrill ride, flat ride, or a roller coaster somewhere in the land. It will most likely be a well-themed and more intense version of Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. Next up, we have a land that we know will be themed to the Harry Potter franchise. Tiriku, an executive creator from Universal Creative, stated in an interview that the Wizarding World, which is what Universal calls the Harry Potter lands, is far from finished, clarifying that this land will be a part of the Harry Potter franchise. While everyone thought it used to be a Fantastic Beasts themed land, now a rumor is starting to get thrown around that it will actually be themed to the Ministry of Magic as seen in some of the later Harry Potter movies. Finally, we have the rumored How to Train Your Dragon land. This land will contain a mock splash battle and some kind of intimate family coaster similar to Hagrid's. Now, other than that, the only other attractions we should really pay attention to is the large dueling roller coaster and the hotel resort area. The hotel will probably be a second entrance to Epic Universe, as we can tell by this small entrance right in front of the hotel, and it will be the main resort for the third park. And finally, we have the Dueling Coaster, rumored to either be a Premier Rides launched coaster or an intimate hot racer. While the hot racer would make more sense since Universal has been working with Intamin quite a bit recently, we know that they have also worked with Premier in the past, and a Premier Rides coaster makes much more sense for capacity reasons. Personally, if I were you, here are the rides I would put my main focus on. The Mario Kart Dark Ride will easily be the best dark ride in the park. It will use AR technology, also known as augmented reality, to immerse you as if you were racing with Mario throughout some of the most iconic locations in the Super Mario franchise, and it will be an interactive ride where everyone in your vehicle gets the chance to drive. Since we all learned about all the details for this ride in the Japan announcement, we know we can expect in Orlando. Another ride is the thrill ride going to the Universal Monsters themed land. Obviously, we know there will be some kind of thrill ride located there, so if it is a roller coaster, you can expect a crazy ride that will be one of the hidden gems in the park. I haven't heard of anything too significant located at the Ministry of Magic, but you should obviously keep your eyes out on this monster dueling coaster right below it. Its layout looks absolutely insane, as it will feature multiple launches, inversions, and hopefully some airtime moments. And finally, we have this intimate family coaster going to How to Train Your Dragon Land. If this coaster does happen, it seems to be a more intense version of Hagrid's, which is what we all want to see. So, there we have it. Epic Universe. Universal Orlando's third theme park. Now, when I did state earlier that this land was rumored to be canceled until further notice, we can actually answer that question right now with the recent statement from Universal Studios themselves. The park was supposed to open in 2023. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they decided to put construction on a complete pause, with the scheduled revised opening day in 2024. In my mind, this seems highly unlikely. We know that Universal does seem to rush some of their projects, as we saw with Hagrid's, but a 2024 opening still seems a bit drastic. When you drive past the land that Epic Universe will be located on, it's just a huge pile of dirt. And it's looked like that for nearly 3 years. Now, Universal is impressive sometimes. They can build things up fast, as we saw with Velocicoaster. But when you also look at a ride like Fast and Furious Supercharged, which took nearly 2.5 years to build, it seems unlikely that they could build an entire new and original theme park from scratch in just 3 years. My honest and personal opinion is that we could see a late 2025 or 2026 opening for the park. Some people have said that we could see a 2027 opening, and to be honest, I could see that. Epic Universe is still an extremely unknown project at this point in time. And we know that Universal seems to tease rides much earlier than their actual announcement, and besides the announcement of the park, Universal hasn't teased for one attraction going to the new park, nor have they really stated anything about the park since the announcement back in 2019. We can only guess at this point that Universal has put Epic Universe to the back of the line. I mean, we learned about Epic Universe right when Velocicoaster was breaking ground, and let's look at the difference. One is still a huge dirt pile, and the other is probably going to open earlier than we expected. But that's probably because of COVID, and lack of employees and resources. Universal has recently laid off thousands of employees, allowing the company to recover from the pandemic, so the odds of them resuming construction of Epic Universe within the next 6 months are slim. Velocicoaster is one ride. Epic Universe is a whole park. You're obviously going to need much more people to work on this park, which is nearly impossible at this point. The supply and demand just doesn't exist. So now, let's picture this. It's August of 2021, the COVID-19 vaccine has been out for quite a while, and Universal has just resumed construction on the park. Jurassic World Velocicoaster is a smash hit, giving the park tons of money. Will it still be the same park as we saw now in the concept information? Personally, I just cannot see this park opening with all of the attractions shown in the concept art. Maybe they might push some projects back, or they might just cut them completely. Obviously, they'll want to have the hotel, the Wizarding World, since that's their biggest money-making IP, and they'll want to keep Super Nintendo World because, well, it's Nintendo. So now we have How to Train Your Dragon and Universal Monsters on the chopping block. Now, do I believe that Universal will try to open the Monsters Land instead of How to Train Your Dragon? Yeah, only because it's an IP that they own without any restrictions. Universal, as we've seen before, likes to borrow IPs like Marvel, Dr. Seuss, and obviously Harry Potter. So the fact that Universal can do really whatever they want with this land, it would be astonishing. It would be a missed opportunity if they decide to cut it. Now with How to Train Your Dragon, that franchise is just flat out losing popularity. The last movie in this franchise that came out was in 2019, and I highly doubt we'll see a How to Train Your Dragon 4. So it would seem weird for Universal to invest in a land themed to a franchise whose last movie was made nearly 7 years before the park opened. Now let's go to the end of this scenario. Epic Universe is just open to the public. I don't think there will be a replacement for How to Train Your Dragon just yet since it got cut as construction was going on. I believe it will be part of a new expansion for whatever franchise makes sense around that time. But do keep in mind, 7 years is a long time. I mean, Diagon Alley, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Banshee, and Goliath all opened 7 years ago as of 2021. We just don't know yet. In the end, don't give up on Epic Universe just yet. It's not dead, it's quite alive, and it will exist in the near future. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So tell me, what are your thoughts on the future for this park? Did I change your mind, or do you guys have a completely different viewpoint? Let me know in the comment section down below, and it would mean a lot to me if you guys would subscribe to the channel. I could sit here and beg you all day to subscribe, but I'm gonna be honest. If you enjoy my content, I would greatly appreciate if you guys subscribed. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you all later, and follow the thrill.